Today, Thursday, May 2nd, 2019, we are here to remember those that lost their lives in the Second World War.
Hayom Kaf Zayin Denisan, Tav Shin Ein Tet, Anachnu Kan Kedei Lishmor Al Zichron HaShoah, V'mai Elef Chamot Arba'in V'chamesh, Istayma Milchama Ha'olam HaShniyah Daraha, Keshegermania Nichnat Lelo T'nai.
In May 1945, the war in Europe officially ended with a full German surrender. The surviving Jews of Europe started looking for living family members. Some stayed in Europe, some found a way to Palestine, and some, including many AJ families, started a new life in America.
יהודי אירופה אכלו בחיפוש אחרי משפחה. חלקם נשארו באירופה, חלק חזרו לישראל וחלק לאמריקה. את השואה אנחנו מרגישים גם היום. ניצולים ומשפחותיהם בנים מחדש, אבל לא שוכחים. הסיפורים שלהם הם הסיפורים שלנו.
The survivors and their stories are now and will forever be a part of the story of the Jewish people.
70 years from today, we will be the ones to carry this responsibility, so no one will ever doubt what happened to our brothers and sisters in Europe.
היום נספר לכם על אירועי ומלכה ילדים יהודים ופעילים שניצלו ממות במהלך השואה. סיפורם הוא סיפורנו.
Today, we will share the story of Uri and Malka, Jewish children from Poland who survived the Holocaust. Their stories represent stories of thousands of lost children living through a very dark time we will never forget.
אלף תשע מאות ארבעים ואחת, מאות כיתות ומחנות השמדה מוקמים ברחבי אירופה. לנציבי עזריהם הייתה מטרה ברורה, לבודד את היהודים מהעולם החיצוני ולהשמיד כל זכר ונקבה.
1941. Hundreds of ghettos and death camps are set up throughout Europe. The Nazis and their aides had a clear purpose: to isolate the Jews from the outside world and to destroy any trace of their resistance.
Jewish children were often the family's only hope to find food, the only ones who could sneak out of the ghetto and return with a treasure that would feed the family: a potato, a piece of bread, tiny pieces of meat. The parents were usually the first to go to the labor and death camps. The children often remained behind in the ghettos, with one parent or no parents at all, children, some older, some younger, trying to survive.
ההורים היו בדרך כלל הראשונים ללכת למחנות העבודה ולהשמדה, והילדים נשארו בגטו. עם הורה אחד או בלי הורים בכלל, ילדים קטנים מנסים לשרוד.
I know it's difficult since Father has passed away, and you are very sad. We must have hope that Mother will be okay.
I hate hospitals. What are we going to do if she dies?
The most important thing is to stay together. You are my family, and I am mine. We stick together.
עכשיו אלוקה חסרה
to listen very carefully. You know that mother isn't coming back. You must hide here and wait for me. Just stay here and I will find you.
You have to go. Now. Here's some water.
Stay in the barrel.
אני גם חייתי המון בדמיונה. מה שאני זוכרת זה שבקביל שחזרתי משחקים. אני זוכרת שדיברתי אל מושה ואל המת ואל פול ואל כל מיני חברות שכבר לא חיים. אני זוכרת ששיחקתי איתם. זאת אומרת, אני הייתי כולם. אני הייתי הסולד מהקש כמו זבות. אני לא חלמתי. לא היו חלומות. אבל היו לי כמו הזיות. I remember that I was talking to Alicia and Enoch and Paula, and all sorts of friends who were no longer alive. I remember playing with them. I was being all of them. I would make myself dolls made of text and just play with characters. I did not dream. There were no dreams, but I had little fantasies.
They always thought it would end. It was about to end. If not today, then tomorrow. And my mother will come with death. I had a goal. The war would be over. And it's clear that the Germans were going to lose. Somehow it was clear to me. I really don't understand why. During the day, every day, I exist, I breathe, so I live, one day at a time.
With the incarceration of Jews in the ghettos and the conditions of extreme hunger and distress, many Jewish children remained without parents and without shelter. Many thousands of children were robbed of their childhood. In some cases, children were hidden and spent in warriors alone. In other cases, children lost their parents and tried to survive the Holocaust by themselves, moving from camp to camp, trying to just keep breathing and to serve as parents to each other.
עם כליאה היהודים לגטאות, בהתפתחות תנאי הרעב והמצוקה הקשים, נותרים ילדים יהודים רבים ללא הורים וללא קורת גג. אלפים רבים של ילדים בלי ילדות.
אמא חלתה והיא נקלקח לבית החולים היהודי בגטו. אנחנו נשארנו עם דודה סטפה. בערב לפני שאמא עבדה את הקרתה, היא שכבה במיטה והרגישה כאב חזק מן הרגיל. הן חשבו שאני ישן ודיברו ביניהם. ואמא אמרה,
Mother was sick and she was taken to the Jewish hospital in the ghetto. We stayed with Mom Stefa the night before she lost consciousness. She lay in bed with a headache more intense than usual.
Stefa, take it with you always, for better or for worse. And Aunt Stefa promised and kept her promise. As long as I lived, I felt that there was a transparent figure that kept me alive all the time. And now that figure had a face, my mother.
Years after the war, Uri said, I could almost see her slipping out of the corner of her eye, but I could never see her. After a while, my mother replaces the mysterious figure, and she herself kept both of us safe.
He's
שהקרעך היה פתח. אחר כך הבנתי שזאת חבית שהייתה מלאה קש. הייתה שם צמיחה חמה להתכסות. אמרו לי להיכנס ולשכב. היו מכניסים לו לשם אוכל פעם ביום, פעמיים ביום לפעמים. היה שם כלב שחור כזה שקראו לו פיפי.
פיפי מאוד אהב אותי, ואני מאוד אהבתי אותו. הוא לא נתן לאף אחד להיכנס לחדר. הוא היה נכנס אליי לחבית ומתיישב לידיי. אני הייתי מתחבקת אותו, יושבת איתו, משחקת איתו. בעצם, כשאני חושבת, הוא היה כמו ילד, כמו חבר.
In the barn, where the cow ate, there was an opening. Later, I realized it was a barrel filled with straw. There's a little blanket too. It told me to lie down quietly. I used to eat once a day, twice a day sometimes, and there was a black dog named Fifi who loved me very much and did not let anyone into the barn. When I think about it, he was like a child, a friend. I mean, at one point, I even thought he could talk. He licked me and he was an adorable, not telling me that my time ran. That year, I almost did not see any people at all. Every once in a while, an old man would come, and he would take me out and we'd be walking together. I would lean on him. It was very hard for me to walk. And he would take me out and we'd walk around, almost carrying me. At one point, I tried to sing. I turned to the barrel until 1944.
You're not in time. The war's over. Take some water. You're free.
Are you an American soldier?
Yes.
Uri and his brother were hidden by a relative in a closed room in the Warsaw Ghetto. Later, they transferred to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, where they survived together. They were released 2 years later by the American Army.
Uri and his brother immigrated to Israel after the war, and Uri became famous worldwide for his books and poems about the Holocaust.
In April 1944, Malka was removed from the barrel without being able to operate her limbs. After liberation, she reunited with her father, who was married again, and traveled with them throughout Europe. After she regained health, she decided to immigrate to Israel alone.
She immigrated in February 1948. Malka served in the newborn IDF for 12 years as head of equipment division of Ordnance Corps. At the same time, she met her husband. They married and had 2 daughters.
אני שיחקתי, שכבתי בחבית ושיחקתי עם כל החברים שלי, עם כל החברים שלי. והשמעתי קול, סיפרתי לעצמי סיפורים שהם סיפרו לי. עוד ועוד ועוד, כל פעם מחדש. כתבתי לעצמי סיפורים חדשים בתוך המוח, שאחר כך הייתי חוזרת עליהם. הייתי מספרת לעצמי על הילדה שחוזרת הביתה, שפוגשת את פיפי הכלב שלה, שפוגשת את אמא. עולם שלם יצרתי לעצמי, וכך כל יום מחדש, כל יום עולם אחר. וכך הייתי שם, משהו כשנה וחצי. בחורף, בקיץ, בסתיו, ועוד פעם אביב. ולי זה נראה כמו כל החיים שלי.
In 1939, the global population of Jewish people worldwide was at around 16.6 million. Today, almost 80 years later, it is estimated the Jewish population has not reached that number yet.
It is estimated that without the Holocaust, this number would have been around 32 million Jews living around the world in 2019.
Our voices join the voices of Jews around the world in a promise. We will never forget you, the heroes whose voices were never heard, the children who never got to have a childhood. We will never forget.
Yom HaShoah. Never forget.
They have this crazy idea. Tens of millions of people heard it. But now, things have gotten crazy. We will explain.
We survived the Holocaust.
This is the worst of humankind. Millions of people were slaughtered. It didn't happen all at once. It started with hateful messages and elections and ended with murder of 6 million Jews. But the hours of hate didn't end with the Holocaust. It happened again in Cambodia, Bosnia, Rwanda, Darfur, Myanmar, and today there seems no hatred towards foreigners, African Americans, Muslims, Jews, and others. So, for what could be the last time? We call on you to ensure today is better than yesterday. Create a We Remember site. Post it on social media. Encourage everyone you know to say, I will. I will. Stand up and put down signs of racism, acts of hate towards anyone. Unfortunately, we always remember. So, now we ask you, please, don't forget me. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Don't forget me.
Aren't there any Jews left? Where should we go?
I want to go west. They hate Jews there.
What about east?
Not great opportunity as well.
Well, we will have our own country one day. We have hope. Speak up.
Six candles for 6 millions. We stand here today with hope. We remember the past and look to the future.
Our generation is expected to be the first to reach the number of Jews alive before the Holocaust. And when we look at our families, we see generations of families who will always remember and will never forget. נרישה, לזכר 6 מיליון מבני העם היהודי, שענו וחנו ומסרו את נפשם על המוות ושבו בטהרה. In memory of the 1.5 million children who were murdered without knowing why they did not reach adulthood. נר שלישי, לזכר המונים בישראל אשר נפלו על דמותם מהרשות ותרבותם היהודית. Ner Revi'im, in memory of the underground fighters in the cities and forests who sacrificed their lives in the battles against the Nazi enemy. Ner Hamishi, לזכר נסולי ולפנים שקנו והציעו את איש המרד הצלת פורמה. Ner Shishi, in memory of the righteous among the nations who took their lives in order to save the Jews.
Yom HaShoah, Yom HaGvura. I want to begin by talking about the Shoah and conclude with this notion of Gvura. We come together to remember. To remember the strong who were worked to death. We come to remember those who were older, who were too frail to survive. We come to remember the children who didn't know why they were victims. We're charged to remember. And it gets harder and harder because of first-hand testimonies are less and less. In a moment, we're going to say Yizkor, and we're going to remember all those who perished. And I will have particularly in my mind who passed away this past year. And she is a grandmother and parent to someone in our own community. I want to share with you just a brief story, biography of Golda. She was born in Poland in 1916. Her brothers were Feivel, Eli, Isaac, and Joseph. Her father was a chazan at the new shul in Tarnow. In 1941, she and her family were moved from their home to the ghetto where she remained until 1943. In July 1943, the ghetto was liquidated and she was sent to a concentration camp. In 1944, she was relocated to Auschwitz, where she did forced labor as a seamstress. She was moved again in 1944 to Mauthausen concentration camp, and then again to Bergen-Belsen, where eventually she was liberated in 1945. She had been suffering from typhus by the end of the war and was rehabilitated in a DP camp. She and her husband and one child, Angela Ruthlin, came to America in 1949. A second child, Rivka Sara, was born in America. Golda worked as a seamstress in the New York garment industry. She passed away this past year. Please rise and join me in a Kel Malira, where we remember 6 million Jews, adults, children, and other people who were killed purely out of ignorance and hatred. People who were different, Jews, Gentiles, cripples, people who had a difference, but people whose unique Tzelem Elohim, whose unique godly image was not able to be seen and were extinguished from our world. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzeh Menucha Nechona Kanfei Ashchina להחזירים את כל הנשמות של 6 מיליוני היהודים, חללי השואה באירופה, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו ונשרפו על פקידות השם בידי המרחצים הגרמנים, הנאצים ועוזרי משאר העמים. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסדר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור החיים את נשמותיהם, אדוני הוא נחלתם, וגן עדן תהא מנוחתם, ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימים, ונאמר So it's harder. It's harder to remember because our first-hand testimony is disappearing from amongst us. And you guys spoke about this idea of remembering. Well, we know what we're remembering. We're remembering people. Remembering adults, children. But why? Why do we remember? Why is it so important? Yom HaShoah, the day of the Holocaust, Ugvura, and the strength and the hope for the future. We have to remember, never again doesn't mean it won't happen again. Never again means that we have to remember that it takes just a little bit of light to change darkness. We don't have to do anything but turn on or listen to the news to understand that hate, bigotry, xenophobia, looking at people who are different in negative ways is very present in our world even today, like our lady said before on the video. Your role, our role as Jews, the reason that we exist here as a school is to bring our own Or Lagoyim, our own little bit of light into the world. Gvura means strength. It also can mean courage. It's not easy to stand up and call out something that is bad when you see it. It is hard to stand up and say, absolutely not while I'm in this room, not while I see it on my social media, absolutely not. It's easier just to be sad and let it go by the wayside. It's easier to say, oh, they're crazy, they don't mean it. Gvura is strength. Gvura says, we are not going to tolerate that. And that's why we have tikva. That's why we have hope. We have hope because we have gvura. If I don't have the strength, then I can sit in my hole and the bad will for sure happen. The only way I can have tikva is if I had gvura. I have hope because I know that I have strength. I have hope because you are going to have strength and everybody in this room. We need to come together to have strength, to call out that which is wicked, that which is evil, that which is anti-Semitic, that which is prejudice. And then, and only then, can we stand together and truly have tikva. Speaking of tikva, I would like at this time to call forward anybody in this room who may be a Holocaust survivor that I may not know of, but I do know there is one gentleman here. I'd like to invite Mr. Laszlo Fuchs to come forward, escorted by his grandchildren, Liav and Ela, to join me in singing the Hatikva. And while they're making their way up, if you are a child or a grandchild of a survivor, please rise and be acknowledged for your gvura. Libya, I'm sorry. And this time I'll ask everyone, please rise. As we sing Tikva, Hatikva together, let this not just be a ceremony that ends in a few moments. Let this be a moment to reassert ourselves to be gvura, to be strong, to call out that which we know in our hearts is wrong and inappropriate. Hatikva. How we enter a room is important. And how we exit a room is important. I'm going to dismiss you by grade in a particular order. And when you make your way outside, together with some teachers, each grade will light a candle, and you'll have the opportunity to look at the display out in the lobby. We're going to walk out, and while the formal program is going to end, we're not going to talk on our way out. We're going to remain in a reflective state. That means we're going to continue to think about what we've been talking about for the last little while. So when I call your grade, please gently stand up, make your way to the lobby, light your candles, and look at our display. Once all the grades are dismissed, then the adults in the room will follow. Fourth grade, please go ahead. 5th grade. Seventh grade. Eighth grade. Sixth grade. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. I know that time comes at a premium, but your presence is important for the children here on the stage, the children who are sitting in the seats, to know this is something that we're all thinking about and something we all deeply care about. So thank you once again for making time in your day to share this experience with us. You're welcome to come to the back and see our exposition. Thank you.